Hello everyone, welcome to the Average Student IS. Today is 12th Feb 2019 and I am going to start the discussion of the Hindu. So let's look at which article today we are going to discuss from the Hindu editorial sections. So today we will be discussing the two most important articles which have some relevance in our UPSC syllabus, and other article don't find some kind of a relevance or interlinkages with our UPSC syllabus. So we will be discussing two articles from today's editorial sections. So the first article is about the time to raise the bar. So you can relate this article with paper 2, and here context is that there is an urgent need to provide some mechanism to deal with the post-retirement government appointment of our judges, because most of the time a serious question has been raised against the judges that most of the time their independence has been compromised when the government appoint them, because most of the time the litigant is government and the appointment has been done by government. At the same time, due to this provision, their independence has been compromised in the some extent. Okay, so look at the case of Justice A.K. Sikri, who was the judge of the Supreme Court. So government has provided him that after retirement he will be going to appointed as some government post, but due to some allegation he has refused to join that post, and the same case has been arised that the independence of the judiciary has been compromised in some cases. Okay, so you can take with the cases of Justice M.C. Chegla, who was the member of first law commissions. So while in the meeting he has highlighted that there is an urgent need to do away with the appointment has been done by the government of the judges. So unfortunately, after his post retirement he violated his same principle that he has supported in the law commission, and he was appointed by the government. Okay, so most of the time the law commission also has highlighted that there is an urgent need to do something in order to appointing a judge for a government post, because most of the time it compromises the independence of the judiciary and it affects the independence of a judiciary also. If you look at the study of the BB Center of Legal Policy, which has pointed out that as many as 70 out of 100 Supreme Court retired judge has been taken up assignments in the National Human Rights Commissions of India, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, Armed Force Tribunal, and the Law Commissions of India. Okay, so if you look at the case of Rojer Mathew versus South Indian Bank Ltd, and which is the case related to tribunalizations of the judiciary, and it is the challenge to the independence of the judiciary. So it has been observed that the tribunal is now, it should not be a haven of retired persons, and appointment process should not result in decision being influenced if government itself is litigant and appointment authority at the same time. So definitely it has been said that tribunal is one way or other, it is a safe haven for the retired persons, and in the tribunal actually the litigant is the most of the time is the government, and appointment authority is also the government. So definitely the decision making of that judge will be compromised at most of the time. Okay, so there is an urgent need to strike the balance between the government appointment and the judiciary independence, because definitely appointment is necessary. They have a lot more experience as compared to the other judges, so they should be appointed. It is not telling that they should not be appointed, but their independence should be taken care of, and their appointment should be done in such a manner that doesn't favor the government or anybody. Their decision should be impartial. Okay, so here has been said that at the same time it is true that the valuable experience and insights of the competent and honest judge acquiring during their office service cannot be wasted after the retirement. Definitely they have a lot more experience. Around after 65 years they go to the retirement, so definitely 65 years of experience they have, so definitely they are going to serve in a better way and provide a judgment in a better way. So definitely, as you know that judges in the abroad retire quite after some time, but in our Indian judges retire comparatively young at the young age. Definitely, so they are capable of many more years of productive work. they can do. So, however, the government-sponsored post-retirement appointment will continue to raise a cloud over the suspicion of the judgment and best judges deliver while in service. So, definitely, if government appoint any kind of a judges, so it must is the decision must be looked by a suspicion some way or other, because he is going to support the government at all, because it's a human nature that if you do favor for me, definitely I am going to provide some kind of a favor for you also. So definitely these are the predetermined things about the human and about the humanity. So what are the possible solutions for this that we should do away with? That it is necessary to appoint the judges, but what are the possible solutions? So the solution has been highlighted that we need to establish a commission if not exclusively of retired judge, to make the appointment of a competent retired judge to the tribunal and judicial bodies. So here it has been said that there is an urgent need to make a commission which will be solely responsible for the appointment of a tribunal and judicial body judges, and they can appoint the retired judge to that tribunal. So definitely here independence of that judges will not be compromised, and judiciary intervention independence will also be taken care of. Okay, so it is true that judge cannot legislate. So definitely according to the constitution they are for judiciary and for the justice, so they are not going to legislate. But if you look that the Supreme Court is empowered to provide an interim solution till the legislation is passed to address that problem. If you look at the Visakha guidelines, which Supreme Court has laid down some guidelines to do away with the sexual harassment at the workplace till a law is passed by the parliament. In the same way, it can be also be done that the Supreme Court laid down some principles or a guidelines or any kind of a commission he can set up till that legislation has not been passed out by any legislature. Okay, so here conclusion is being given that it is desirable that Supreme Court invokes that methodology of the Visakha guidelines and now put in place a process to regulate post-retirement appointment for the judges. Such a process must sufficiently insulate the judiciary from a government post-retirement appointment. Okay, and therefore it is in the judiciary own interest to resolve this issue as expeditiously as it can. Okay, next article is about the everyone is afraid of data. You can relate this article with paper 2. Here the context is that as you know, from 2 weeks it has been in the news that government has refused to release a report using the periodic labor force survey, which has highlighted that the loss of job under the National Democratic Alliance government, particularly post demonetization. So here in this article 5 trends has been highlighted that why government afraid from providing the report in the public. So if you look at the first trends, that has been the census of 2011 data on religious distribution of population was not released until 2015 because the government fear of losing some kind of a vote banks after releasing this data. So similarly, if you look at the UNICEF conducted a rapid survey on children in 2013 and 14 on the behalf of Ministry of Women and Child Development, but the report was upheld by the government because there has been allegedly due to the fear that it shows Gujaratis in poor light. So definitely the work of the data is to show that what is wrong with that state and what is wrong with particular ministry. If you then do not going to highlight that particular problem, then how the legislature on any kind of a policy can be made in favor of that in order to bring them from poor circumstances to the good circumstances. Definitely these are some gross violation also. A second fear is that fear of having a statistical report is that misquoted is legitimate, because if you look at the census of 2001, result on religion was released in September 2004 in a newspaper led to a story that it has highlighted that the Hindu growth rate between 1981 and 1991 and 1991 to 2001 has declined from 25.1% to 20.3%, and for the Muslim it has gone up to 34.5% to 36%. But these all reports are misrepresented, because in 1991 census was not conducted in Jammu and Kashmir, and after adjusting it in 2001 the growth rate for both Hindu and Muslim has declined. So definitely nobody is taking care of the correct issue, that what is that issue under which this data has been decreased or increased, but they misrepresent the data and misquote that data. Third is that it is impossible to bottle up the genuine once data is collected or a report prepared, because in the world we are living in a world of internet, and we are surviving in a world that data can be disseminated or passed to the whole world within a second, or within a single click. Okay, so at that time you are not providing that data, definitely it goes to a lots of misinterpretation of a data. Like for example, if you took the rapid survey on children which was conducted which was conducted by the UNICEF on the behalf of Ministry of Women and Child Development, so the data was not presented at that time. Because of that not presentation, there was a lot of speculation by the economists that the data is being suppressed because of Gujarat has not been well performed in order of reducing the malnutrition. Fourth has been that sometimes leaked result can create speculations that is far worse than the disclosure of good warrant. Definitely we should represent, because misquotation or a misrepresentation by the media also could speculate a lot more things about the data. Fifth is that the statistics often deal with complicated reality and require a thoughtful analysis instead of bare-bone reporting content in a typical government reports. So definitely we have to deal with a lot more things. We can't rely with the same thing that government is providing what the data is, because most of the time government provide us some kind of a wrong, misrepresented data. At the same time it is some other data which has been available there. Okay, so it has been that some problem has been highlighted here, that and it should be addressed. Like the problem is due to the lack of investment in the data collection itself is a cause of a lot more problem in data sample collection, as well as NSS unemployment survey not conducted in 2011 and 12, and because of that forcing the public policy to rely on non-comparable statistics from the other source such as the data of employment provident fund organization. So how we can get out of this vicious circles where a fear of misrepresentation lead to the suppression of a data, in which the fuel speculation and suspicion and ultimately result into an inability to design and evaluate a good policy. So because most of the time it has been said that understaffed and underfunded statistical service cannot possibly have a sufficient domain expertise to undertake sufficiently informed analysis in all the area for which statistical data is required. It is better way for building a robust infrastructure maybe to ensure that each measure's data collection activity is augmented by an analytical component led by a domain expert recruited by a diverse sources including academia. Okay, thank you very much.